How to 10x your productivity with Claude Code. This short video, I'm going to share with you guys a few things that I've implemented lately into my building process that have been very valuable. The video is going to be pretty short, but I believe that if you implement these things, you will see great returns. First of all, in terms of speed. Second of all, in terms of accuracy. And let's just break things down. The first thing is a new update that was published, I guess, a few days ago, maybe even a week ago. Anthropic introduced async, not tool calls, it's actually hook calling. What does that mean? Until now, whenever a hook was generated in Claude Code, for example, after finishing a tool call, when you got a notification, it was a synchronous hook. What does that mean? It kind of paused everything and it initiated this hook. Now, the new capability is basically initiating a tool call asynchronously. What does that mean? That while you keep on building, you can have Claude Code fire or initiate hooks in the background. So it can allow you to work in parallel without being stuck waiting for stuff. Just as an example, let's say, and you should have, if you have a notification whenever Claude Code needs your input, until now, generating the notification took, I don't know, like 5 or 10 seconds. Now you can have it being generated asynchronously, so it doesn't slow you down. This is just like the most immediate example that comes to mind. Obviously, you can also have it do more meaningful stuff, but the main idea is that this is async. Now, what you can do basically is go to Claude Code, see all your hooks that you currently have, and then ask Claude Code to propose which hooks should be async. So what I did here, give me a breakdown of all my hooks, which are async and which are sync and why. So basically, it took all the hooks that I have, like we have different type of event: session start, pre-compact, pre-tool use, post-tool use, session stop, permission request, etc. And over here, you can see all the hooks that I'm using and why they are being in sync. And over here, you can see all the async hooks that I have and the reason for that. Now, basically, it gives a breakdown, but the main idea is, first of all, if you didn't implement enough hooks, so hooks are very valuable, make sure to implement them. For example, testing hooks, linting hooks, etc. And second of all, make sure that you ask Claude Code to help you with generating non-blocking hooks when the hooks shouldn't be blocking. So this is the first thing that has been very valuable. The second thing is connecting Codex and Gemini to my Claude Code. And I've seen a lot of discussion about this in Reddit, and I decided to give it a go. Basically what I did, I asked Claude Code to help me with adding Codex and Gemini via MCPs, and it just found the best implementation, the best MCPs. I provided it with the API keys, and from now on I have them as MCPs. As you can see here, we have Gemini and we have Codex. Besides this, the only MCPs that I'm using are Bright Data, which I'm going to elaborate about more in a second, Playwright, and Context 7. Context 7, it pulls the most updated docs of different libraries. So this way, let's say you're building with React and you have a syntax error. It might be caused by the fact that React has updated something in the library. What Context 7 does, it makes sure to be connected to the most updated documentation of React. This way, you don't need to go back and forth trying to fix an error, which the error originates in the update. So this is very useful. Playwright, very useful for automated testing and browser automation. And the thing that I like about Codex and Gemini is that they have different perspectives. As you know, different models have different perspectives. And for example, when I want to plan something, at the moment what I'm doing, I have Codex write my tests, all the tests, and then Claude Code using Opus 4.5 is going to do the implementation. And afterwards, I use Codex and Claude Code together in order to, I call it reinforce skill, in order to check out the code and see what is missing or what can be improved, whether it's related to performance, security, UX, UI, etc. And the great thing about Gemini is, first of all, you can use another brain, which is Google's Gemini brain, and it can also generate images because it is connected to the whole Google suite. And it is also better in searching. What do I mean by that? Very often, let's say you want to search in Reddit, Claude using Opus might have like blocks being blocked, so it will say unable to fetch or whatever because it's using the fetch tool. And this sucks because you want to be able to access the page. So the alternative is using Gemini. Let's assume I try to go to Reddit and find recent posts about Claude Code. Sometimes this would yield an error, meaning it won't be able to fetch. But if I tell it, use Gemini MCP to fetch. If I tell it to use Gemini, I've noticed that it's going to increase the likelihood of this actually fetching what I need. So this is very valuable. But even this sometimes doesn't yield what I want. And this is why I also started using the Bright Data MCP. For those of you who don't know, Bright Data is a very famous scraping solution. I use it very often, mostly for not using actually the MCP, but mostly using it for, it has built-in automated proxies rotation, and it has built-in captcha solving. It basically solves all the infrastructure related stuff for the scraping process and the data extraction. Now recently, they have introduced an MCP, which is also have very generous credits, that you basically need to go to the website, you get the API key, you start the trial, you get the API key, and then you just connect the MCP. You can ask Claude Code to tell you how to add the MCP. And then the value of using Bright Data MCP is in the fact that it can very reliably pull data. So I did a test trying to fetch prices from Walmart and Amazon. Initially, I tried doing it with Claude Code using Opus. It didn't yield the results. Afterwards, I tried using Google. It also didn't yield the results. Then I tried using Playwright, which is connected to my browser, so it's already logged in. So it's usually, it can bring, if you need only like individual pages, it usually works in a very high percentage. But whenever I encountered a CAPTCHA, this is where things started breaking, and I realized that I must have like a more robust solution. So I started using Bright Data. Bright Data have different tools. Which tools does the Bright Data MCP have? I think we can also see this by going. By the way, I'm using Tmax over here to have multiple terminals. It's very convenient. I did a video about this. So since I wanted to go here, MCP, I think if you come here and click something, yeah, you can see all the tools and re-authenticate. Basically, it gave us a breakdown of all the capabilities that the Bright Data MCP allows. So first of all, scrape search results from Google, Bing, or Yandex, and it returns the SERP results in JSON or Markdown. The second tool, it can scrape a single web page URL and get content back as Markdown. Now, the coolest thing about this, it can actually unlock pages with bot detection or CAPTCHAs. They have like a proprietary a proprietary solution for this. I don't even know how it is working. Next, they have the search engine batch, which basically run multiple search queries simultaneously, up to 10, and returns the JSON for Google in Markdown for Bing or Yandex. And the last one is scrape batch, scrape multiple web pages, multiple URLs at once, up to 10, and it returns content as Markdown. And the key capabilities is web scraping with anti-bot captcha bypass, search engine scraping, batch operations for efficiency, and Markdown output format. Now, for me, as I said, when I did a test of trying to scrape Walmart and Amazon, basically, Bright Data was the only solution that was actually able to extract the data for me and also extract it at scale. So I definitely recommend, if you're building anything at scale or need something more reliable, it's better to use the Bright Data MCP. Of course, if it has to be deterministic, you probably need to switch to using not the MCP, but the actual Bright Data API endpoints. But this is for probably a different video. I think that is it. So what I wanted to cover, first of all, is the async tool calls. Just can save you a lot of time. I didn't find any creative ideas for using it to really increase effectiveness. It's mostly about shaving time in the process, in the workflow, which is also valuable. Second thing that I highly recommend is connecting Codex and Gemini. It just gives you different brains to operate your Claude code, and then you can also use it for testing or brainstorming, stuff like this. And last but not least, I should have done a capital letter over here, is adding the Bright Data MCP whenever you want reliable data extraction at scale. This is the best MCP at the moment. Make sure to check it out. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this short video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Obviously, leave a comment below with any feedback. And until next time, keep on automating.